Hey, Decathlon Gamer, welcome back to FM24 Youth Factory episode 45. We finally have a player. Finally have a player who has cracked the best 50 players in the world list. It's Ethan McLaren. No surprise there, as he is our best, though you would think at some point Brody Bick could make this list as well. Having gone through the top 50 list, even though Ethan McLaren only comes in at 49th, he is tied with being the youngest player on the list, even though he's 25 years of age. There is not a single player in the top 50 who is under the age of 25. There are 8 or 9 players age of 25, so he's got a little ways to go if he's going to overtake some of them. But that's fantastic for us to show that we have drawn some players into our academy that are capable of playing at the highest level. We've just had notice that we have the 5th best academy in the world. It's starting to show itself. It's starting to bear the fruits, and all because of reputation, not because of anything different. Ethan McLaren was there a long time ago, and Ethan McLaren's been good for a long time. Now one of the best, now recognized as one of the best. It's starting to come together, and I think we're only going to see more of this from here. Following our first round FA Cup victory where we left off last episode, we have carried on with 3 losses and a draw, though one of those is that Papa John's Trophy, the under-21s, that we are now done with. So the FA Cup is the only side competition we have. However, in the league, just 1 point out of the last 3 matches, though 2 of them on the road, and only a -2 goal differential. I mean, very, very close matches there. We're in it, but just not quite coming away with some results. But we're on a stretch of 4 away games in a row. Not going to be easy. Wrexham have been struggling. Last I saw, they were in the relegation zone, so we'll see if that's something winnable. It looks like December is going to be a more favorable month after the Wrexham match, as we've got a lot of home games through there. But as we've gone forward a few more weeks, has there been any more development in our players? Well, Sam Julian is finally healthy again. It might be the more important part right now. Archie Jones is also finally healthy again. Lanahan, Penrese, Wilkinson, and Adekunle. Well, Adekunle is just in need of rest. He's stuck playing every minute because there's no one else who can. Webb has jumped from a 109 to a 111, so that was one of our goals, was getting him up to a 110. McCartney's already approaching a 100, so he has come so quick from about a 91 to a 98 in just a couple of months. Phil Hewitt making slow progress. Sam Lyons has come from mid-80s to 94 already, so definitely progressing the fastest. And Kalen Plain has also gone from mid-70s to an 81 now, so we are starting to see him come through. A little surprised by his continued selection over, well, not Sam Lyons. It's more really over McCartney. I guess McCartney was injured for a little bit, so starting to get a hint of healthy and development. If we can get healthy and see that development continued, I can see us getting out of the trouble we find ourselves in right now. The main thing we wanted to do was avoid a relegation battle, and we're on the verge of it. We're down to 1 point per match right now at the near halfway point of the season. Only a -8 goal differential. We're not that bad of a team, but we've just struggled to get results. Wrexham is out of the relegation zone themselves, actually one of the teams that have jumped us of late. So we're on the road at Shrewsbury for the second round FA Cup match, but it is essentially a League One matchup. We're on the road, already at a disadvantage, and Shrewsbury are at like the exact opposite end of the table that we're at. We are just above the relegation zone. They are just below the playoff zone. So that, combined with the home position, gives them a significant advantage in this game. Not a big deal if we get eliminated from the FA Cup. I mean, we're not looking to go deep in this. It would have been nice to get 2 or 3 rounds to get that extra cash in prize money, because FFP and all that. And I still don't know where they exactly calculate our revenue. They certainly aren't counting the transfer fees that are coming in, which you think they would. But Jones rises above Ooh, somebody got in the way of the keeper's view on that one. So keeper obstruction, couldn't make a save. Hassel, ooh, poor header there. Could have popped that one up for Julian, and it would have been an easy grab for Julian, but we got it back in the end. McCarty switches to Webb. Webb, long ball ahead, given away. Now Lennon. We're getting beat fairly handily at the moment. And on a second attempt, we're seeing kind of the same thing as what happened on the goal. We're seeing that switch to that left-hand side, and we just cannot handle it. We're unable to clear that one out. He had been in offside. Ooh, that was iffy. He had been in offside, gets back onside. Then he again shifts to the offside position, and the ball gets played. Looked questionable there, but yeah. So we played 25 minutes and we trail 1-0. Either way, we're getting beat way too easily on that one, and that part's unmistakable. Whether he's offside or on, it's not like he gained an advantage from being offside there. We do have a couple of subs that are into the starting lineup today, as we are still under extreme duress when it comes to our attacking players and the number of injuries that we've been carrying. Adekunle has been carrying the load and is just freaking exhausted. He's probably going to play just 45 today, and he's already struggling out there as a result. Wiley gets a start. Walker gets a start. Guven gets the start, as we've been missing way too many faces. Walker takes it to the corner, pulls it back, lays it off for Lines. Wiley picks it up after it gets deflected, and his shot is blocked. We intercept. Very 50-50 match so far, but it's halftime and we trail. Starting the second half, Adekunle is going to play about 5 minutes here of the second half. Nice interception from Wiley. Walker needed to run into space. Didn't have good recognition there, and it stops the counterattack. Adekunle finds Wiley. Wiley into some space, but lays it off after he gets 3 defenders on him. Lines again finds some space, but lays it off. You got too many guys that aren't willing to take on the defender there. Potter finds Wiley, but it's deflected and turned over. Adekunle has played that 5 to 6 minutes. It's Phil Hewitt, who also has his own fatigue issues, who's going to come on to see out the rest of this game, which means Guven's going to play the full 90. And with an entire group of attacking backups, wish us luck on trying to get a goal. Long throw. Bounces around, and they end up putting it in the back of the net, and that should do it. We're down 2-0 with a group that's going to have a hard time getting one goal here. So we go for a partial clearance initially, but it's just not enough. Batchelor sends it in for an easy finish. Back to Lines, and now to Walker. Walker ahead for Guven, but he's unable to beat his man. McCartney finds Hewitt. Hewitt, give and go. Potter inside the Lines. Lines, oh, keeper got a fingertip to that one. Pushed it off the post. Kept it out. We're not going to go crazy here in the final minutes. We're losing pretty clearly. We will try to add some tempo at least. Subs, fatigue subs. Do we want anybody to get a chance to get on? I'm not sure if there's anybody left out there. McFadden's having a rough go and on a yellow, so Kamara. Redknapp, yeah, Kamara is going to come in. Final 2 minutes. Through for Hewitt, and we get a goal. Flag stays down. It's 2-1. It's too late, but it's 2-1. Hewitt getting on the scoreboard. Comes in from the right wing. It's really nice pass there from Sam Lines. And Hewitt, that's off the arm of the goalkeeper. Is that an own goal? No, it is counted as Hewitt's. Whistle's been staved off long enough to maybe give us one last chance here. Nope. We quickly make our way forward, don't even get to midfield, and the ref blows the whistle. In the end, the result is harsh because the game, on balance, really was 50-50. They got a lot of XG from that second goal. Majority of what they picked up, otherwise we would have been subtracting that one chance, we would have definitely been the better. On balance, though, Shrewsbury did have more chances, more opportunities, more attacking prowess. We are still lacking for selection. We've got guys close to coming back, and we're going to need it if we're going to stay above that relegation zone and push back into mid-table. We've been playing with a really weak roster for about 2 months now, and we've slowly slipped down towards that relegation zone and are now just above it. That, of course, was not a league match, though it was against a league foe, but that is the FA Cup done and dusted in the second round this year. Now we have nothing but league games left the rest of the way, so that'll help us without having an overloaded schedule so much. We can focus just on the league, getting healthy, and starting to get some results. Let's hope that is how things progress going forward. But before I speed things up, I'm going to start to look at those contracts for the coming year, see who needs to have negotiations, and get maybe the easy ones out of the way now. I have the first 6 deals in place for new contracts, 3 at lower levels, but when you look at the 3 here at the higher level, we're seeing a drop in salary. We're seeing a doubling, but only by 12K, or really 11K for Rossini, who's grown to 100 plus current ability, and a decrease by just over 10,000 for Chris Webb. Playing hardball makes it a little bit easier, and that's good. I think that's been good business, because when you look at the offset of these two alone, and then here plus 3 smaller contracts, we're looking at spending the same on 6 new deals. And while it's only 2 years for Chris Webb, we're looking at a 4-year deal or 3.5-year deal for Ursini. We're looking at adding a couple of years to all the other guys. Good business. Little disappointed I couldn't do more with Webb, but to try to keep the costs low and to get him re-signed, I couldn't get him on a 4-year deal without paying him significantly more. And maybe that could have been or would have been one of my options, but I'm looking at a guy like Lanahan Penreese going, oh, hold on a second. He's going to be a hard sign. Wilkinson is going to be a hard sign, and we may be back into the, well, nothing now, but we might be back into the he's not interested stage as before. We'll see if we can get him signed. I mean, obviously it wouldn't be as a squad player, and it would come with a substantial pay raise, but if we can get him for 300,000 or something like that, or 200,000, I would be thrilled. But with expiring contracts for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more players, all at senior level, the lower levels are taken care of for the time being. Kamara is likely going to get let go. He does not have the ability, and we definitely don't want to be paying that 188,000. And at 21, he's going to start, getting counted. So we're going to be letting go of that 200K. And Kamara really doesn't do much for us anymore and barely plays anymore. And we've got a lot of young guys that are coming up and overtaking him. So that one's fine, and I love that we're going to have that extra couple 100K to play with, because like I said, Wilkinson's going to be a big pay raise at the least, and we don't know just how bad it's going to be for Lanahan Penreese. And then still other deals to try to negotiate. That's our couple older guys, our couple older fullbacks, our 25-year-olds. McFadden, massively overpaid. Redknapp, massively overpaid for what either of them are for us. So it's going to be tricky negotiations to try to even hang on to those guys, and we may be in some sort of January try to move them along and get something of value for them, as opposed to just letting them go for free or cheesing their deals to keep them around. So things to consider with that one. But let's go ahead and start that push forward in time with the first round of contracts, first half of the contracts, the easier ones, taken care of. Our Paul Davidson deal, we just got an extra $1.5 million from that, as he's already played 20 games with Luton Town. Of course, we are horribly missing him right now, as we've been unable to get goals without him. We're now just 1 point above the drop. The assistant manager is doing us no help, no favors whatsoever. Uh, really poor in the results that he has had, where when I've been playing in the league, I've done just fine. When he plays, it's been the exact opposite. So, team selection, tactics from the assistant manager with a vacation season going. And we know we're not going to be competitive overall, so what's the point? We just need to avoid relegation. Well, now all of a sudden he's got us 1 point from the drop with 2 matches more than MK Dons. But at least we beat them head to head. But yeah, it's been poor, to say the least. To make matters worse, the bigger issue that I've been more concerned with hasn't been our assistant manager getting results, it's been the health of the team. And that's where the assistant manager has been poor. Because last I had checked, Wilkinson was not ready. Not ready at all. I headed on vacation. 3 days later, he started and re-injured and is going to miss most of the rest of the season. So Wilkinson, who's barely played, is going to barely play because the assistant manager put him in before he was ready. As for the development side, well, Wilkinson obviously missing. The other guys have at least gotten healthy, but we haven't really seen the results coming. McFadden is still slowly getting better. McCartney, 100. That was one of our goals for the season, was to get him to a 100. Sam Lyons is up to a 94. Phil Hewitt continuing to grow as well. Lee Ward is up to a 90. Ashley Potter has stalled at a 90, where Charlton Redknapp continues to grow. That's a strange one, but okay. I guess Wiley is getting better. Plain, Ralston, yeah, still not much happening there. But you are definitely seeing some development. In particular, McCartney and Lyons are growing into it. 6.85 their rating, which really is better than we're used to seeing, right? Past years, the defensive mids have been a little weak compared to the attacking players, compared to their ability. These two seem to be doing just fine compared to the teammates around them. I mean, Sam Julian, 671 rating on the season, 648 in the last 5. Akunle, terrible this season. 4 goals, 4 assists is all he has. Wilkinson, 4 goals, 2 assists, but only 9 games played. Really missing him. 9 games versus 28. Very similar numbers. Almost identical XG. Much better points per game with Wilkinson out there. We are really, really missing him. Archie Jones is doing okay. He's been probably our second best player this season. 6 goals, 4 assists. He's starting to grow into his role a little bit, and he's starting to catch up on those guys a bit. Lanahan Penreese, who stalled out a long time ago, he was our best player for a long time. Hasn't done much. 4 goals, 3 assists. How much of that has been as striker? Where is he getting played this season? 3 of the last 5 games, he's been at striker. Nothing prior. Now, while the trend is worrying, and we're just above the drop, we're not in the worst of ways. We're a couple wins away from 15th. I do still solidly think, with just a half season done now, that we're easily capable of getting up back into that zone. The injuries were a real problem. We're down to 1 key guy missing. That's a little easier to get around. The development has been there. A few of the guys that had to start this season that weren't ready, they're still not there yet, but they're up to definitely not National League level now. They've caught up to League 2 level. They're getting close to that League 1 level, and overall, the group as a whole continues to develop. So at the end of the day, I do think that this squad, even with the assistant manager and me going on vacation, is still capable of pulling out results. Still capable of getting there. We need to have January without losing players. That's going to be a big key, which means I need to get on with that second round of contracts, get the next 2-3 guys taken care of as soon as possible, and move on. Before we get into that window, before we have issues with teams coming along trying to buy guys out from under us. But if we can have a quiet January, and if we can pull out that occasional win from time to time, maybe a little more frequently than we're doing right now, I think we can get in that edge of mid-table zone before the end of the season. And if worse comes to worse, I step in and start managing the team more often to help see us, get through this season. So one way or another, we're going to get to the later portion of this season quickly. Then, depending on whether we have a battle on our hands or not, we'll keep going quickly, or I'll take over at the helm and see this team get the results it needs to get. So Lanahan Penreese is going to take a decrease in pay. We're only adding 1 year to the deal. I tried really hard to get more years. Promotion salary rise is definitely a thing, but otherwise we've got him locked in pretty well. That's a $50,000 savings from where we were. You add that to the $188 from Kamara, and we're definitely in good shape for trying to get a deal done. But right now, Wilkinson, as I feared, is not interested in a deal, but we will absolutely cheese that if worse comes to worse and maybe give him another pay raise while we're at it. But then there's McFadden and Redknapp to make a decision on, because collectively they're making $600,000 and our two weaker fullbacks that very much are counting towards our FFP, but they're first team guys in their prime, and we're not overloaded on the finances, so we probably want to just hang on to them and keep them around. Here comes another $36,000 in savings with Redknapp's deal closed. For now, McFadden demands a little high. We were going to save some money, but he wanted release clauses and things of that nature. And for the moment anyway, we don't have an agreement, but we'll give it another shot in a matter of weeks and likely get a deal done, leaving us with the obvious exit of Kamara, a handful of U18 or U21 players that have expiring contracts but lower potential that I'm probably going to let go, but I'm going to wait to see what happens with our intake to see if we actually have replacements to let all or some of those players go, and then ultimately what happens with Wilkinson, which right now looks like the minimum security kicking in, even though we tried to give him a kickstart and reset so that we could give him a proper contract. He's still got the same mentality that he had before, which I suppose is just what's in the brain. He's thinking about numero uno and not anything else. Interesting change. We have brought in more money through transfer deals. Our finances are in a better state through transfer deals. We have re-signed a bunch of contracts for less than what they were before, meaning we have already saved about 100,000 plus, maybe 150,000. I think it's about 100 though, on what we were spending. We were more than $1 million salary to the good. Now we're 78,000 over. We've been reevaluated and placed in a transfer embargo. Huh? Where did that come from? Our last 6 haven't been too bad, though it's only 5 points from 6 after losing to Bristol Rovers and Burton by a goal each. We beat up on Rotherham, drew with Preston and Swansea before losing to Plymouth by 1 on the road with a late penalty, though Hewitt actually pulled one back. We were still behind anyway. Next up, FC Halifax, who are 22nd at home. I think it's about time we play out a game live. Definitely time, but it's going to be for the start of the next episode, as we are going to be wrapping it up here. Our position is unchanged. We are still 20th, 2 points above MK Dons, 3 above FC Halifax, Not a must-win. We played 30. There's a long ways to go, but FC Halifax have only played 26. Bristol Rovers have only played 27. We're a bit heavy on that schedule. In fact, we have played the most in the league. We're the only team that's already played 30 matches. We've got a little bit less remaining, and that's a little bit worrying. I'm happy to have all of these competitions done so we can focus on the league. Phil Hewitt looks like he's been the one playing striker most of the season. 10 goals for him. Archie Jones, best rating at not a 7. And Lanahan Penrace with 5 assists. On that development, as it's now, January, we've pushed on a little bit more. A change down at the bottom, though. Wiley has passed up Kamara. Potter still at a 90. Lee Ward is up to a 90. Redknapp a 92. Phil Hewitt's a 96. Slowly climbing. Sam Lyons nearly to that 100 mark now. And that's really about it, other than Sam Julian moving up a couple from a 123 to a 125 to now be the best player officially at the club. Last 5 games, we have seen a few guys perform a little bit better. All of this being attributed to being a little healthier, but Wilkinson is injured for 7 weeks to 3 months, so still 2 to 3 months out for him. Archie Jones, about 2 weeks to 3, and Wiley, 12 days. McFadden also injured, returning to full fitness imminently. We still have just 8 matches from Wilkinson all season. It's hurt. It's hurt in multiple ways that we are missing key guys, attacking guys, where we've been struggling to score goals, especially without Davidson. At least we cashed in big time on Davidson. We got $5 million up front. We got another $1.5 million already. $6.5 million for that deal has really helped us out. But then FFP has come and struck, even though we were comfortably inside FFP. No explanation why it dropped off, because our income, did it fall a little bit because we don't have as many people coming to see the team? But why would it drop by $1.5 million? That's significant. And especially when we brought in $1.5 million on one deal alone. But at least we're down to just a couple players when it comes to contract negotiations. But it is January, so offers are starting to come in, which means things can get unsettled. We don't have room for things to get unsettled right now. So we could be in a desperation mode. We could be in a I have to take over for a while mode here very soon, beginning with the next match, which I'm going to take over. But that's going to do it for this episode. I'm Decathlon Gamer. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Have a good one. Be safe out there, and bye for now.